Marc Spears covers the NBA, senior NBA writer, ESPN, The Undefeated. It is a fantastic article on Ben Simmons. You got to check it out. Make sure you check out the Ben Simmons article. Senior NBA writer, ESPN's The Undefeated. And check out his work and coverage at theundefeated.com, which the NBA trade deadline in the books, and how has it changed at least the East. I think the West is the same, right, Mark? Golden State's the best?
No, Golden State's still the best, but can you hear me?
Yeah, man, I got you.
But on the bottom end of the West, it's gotten really interesting. You got the Kings with Harrison Barnes and Alec Burks, and talked to Harrison Barnes today, actually about to leave Sacramento. They believe not only can they fight for a playoff seed, but they want to try to push for another number 7 seed. Obviously, the Lakers didn't get the guy they wanted in Anthony Davis.
Right.
But, can you envision a playoff without LeBron? I mean, it's possible. The Lakers are going to have to play a lot better. They had a great win last night, so that's certainly a storyline to keep an eye on. The bottom part of the Western Conference, I think, while the East, at the top of the East, I think is a great story. The bottom of the West and what happens with the Lakers is something that I think is going to get louder and louder after the All-Star break.
Yeah, Mark, I mean, you mentioned the East. Is it Golden State, and would you say then the next 4 best teams possibly come from the East?
I won't go that far. I mean, the next 4.
You got Toronto, Boston, Milwaukee, Philadelphia.
You could make an argument, but I mean, Denver's really good. Oklahoma City's really good. Let's see what Houston ends up doing. I mean, there's some really good teams in the West. So I guess the best way to say it kind of is beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right?
Sure, yeah. No, I agree. I don't know that there's a clear-cut number. I don't know that there is a clear-cut number 2 this year. Is there? Maybe. I don't know.
I'm sorry. Repeat that again.
I don't know that there. Like last year, everyone was waiting for Golden State, Houston. There was a clear-cut number 2. I don't know if there is a clear-cut number 2. The Eastern Conference Finals might be the one that everybody wants to watch this year.
Yeah. No. The number 2 changes by the week.
Yeah.
It just depends on who's hot this week. I mean, right now, on paper, your Sixers are probably the most intriguing. With those guys, they got 4 All-Stars basically now.
Yeah,
the challenge is. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I do want to get into that. Like you just said it. The challenge of making trades at this stage of the season and seeing that, look how long it's taken Boston to kind of get to where they are now. They got off to such a clunky start. Is Philly just not going to have enough time to get these guys in?
See, that's the hard thing is, let's go back. When you think about midseason trades, how many of them really make an impact where that team goes to the championship because of the trade?
Right.
Now, in the past 15 years or so, the only one that really, really jumps out at me is Pau Gasol going to the Lakers, right? And so Pau Gasol gets traded to the Lakers in 2008, and they end up playing the Celtics and losing to the Celtics in the finals. But rarely do you see a midseason trade vault a team ahead, because it's just a lot, man. Like the Sixers, they're still trying to figure out how to play with Jimmy Butler, right?
Right.
You got 2 All-Stars who are who they are, and then you got another, A-list guy and that needs his touches, and now you're adding a guy that averaged 20 points a game who's going to be a free agent. So it's a problem. It's a good problem, but my worry is, and I remember Nolan Richardson saying when he was coaching Arkansas, he's like, "Hey, I only get so many McDonald's All-Americans," and I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Because everybody can't shoot the ball."
Mm-hmm.
The good thing is that Ben Simmons isn't worried about that. The challenge for him is, how is he going to make everybody happy? And if he could make everybody happy and Elton can get everybody to buy into the greater good of winning a championship, they'll realize that it's not points that makes you eat off the court. It's winning. And if they're winning, then everybody's going to eat.
Marc Spears, senior NBA writer for ESPN's The Undefeated. Check out Marc's work in NBA coverage at undefeated.com. Marc, you got a chance to sit down with Ben Simmons, and he's an interesting guy because, everybody's like, when are you going to shoot? When are you going to learn to shoot? How do you not know how to shoot? Where do you think he is in his development of an NBA player and just as a person, really? I mean, the quote that really stood out that you kind of highlighted was, he had that injury and he thought people kind of forgot about him. They don't forget about him now, but the one thing they don't forget is, when's this guy going to shoot? Now, I'm not one of those people that think this guy needs to shoot. They finally got a team around him where the pressure's not on him to have to shoot. When you don't have other players around, then sure. But what did you kind of learn about Ben that really was intriguing about this piece?
I didn't know that his brother, who is a former college basketball coach, had spent that much time with him, working with him on his game, working with him on commitment, being on time, just being, professional things, not just basketball things, but professional things. And if you're around the Simmons, they keep it real, man. Australians, I love them, man. I love people that are honest to a fault. They're not that family that's going to kiss your backside. They're going to tell you when you're struggling. They're going to tell you when you're not working hard enough. And his family is certainly that. They're a great asset to him. So I think his brother this past summer, really got Ben to work harder than he had ever worked and prepare himself. And that played a big role in, I think, how he's playing this season. Is he going to be the next Steph Curry anytime soon? No. We know that. He's going to continue to work on it and get better. I think he's proven that. And if he's doing this at 22, I mean, the sky is still the limit for, I think, the closest thing since Magic Johnson that we've seen since Magic left.
Now, Marc, do you think one day he's just going to pop a shot out to where he'll shoot 3-4 times a game? Or because it almost seems like the way he kind of has said things, it's like, when it's ready, it will come. It's not like, I'm not going to try it until it's ready. But do you get any indication from talking to him like, yeah, of course I want to shoot. It's just I'm not ready to do it yet?
Yeah, that wasn't a hot topic of conversation for him. But it's almost like, I mean, he don't really need to. So it's not like they need him to shoot threes to win. So why be experimental now?
Yeah.
You got JJ's pretty good at it. Tobias Harris could do it. Jimmy Butler can do it. Even Embiid could do it. So I don't know that that's not something that's going to make or break the Sixers. So to me, experimenting to help him gain confidence on his 3-point shot is probably not a really good idea right now. Like the Warriors have a guy in Sean Livingston who's in the same boat. He don't shoot threes at all, but he's certainly very, very effective. And obviously not being able to be a 3-point threat hasn't kept Ben from being an all-star. So, hey, man, I mean, if he could do everything, he could challenge to be the best player in the league. So I guess we have to have something wrong with him, right?
In Philly, you better be perfect, right? Marc Spears, senior NBA writer, ESPN's Undefeated. You mentioned professional things, doing the professional things. And I talk about this a lot, and I don't know where you might stand on the whole draft, but I think the NBA with the draft has a big problem. They want to make the kids come in younger. I would prefer them to stay, 2-3 years because, as you mentioned, yeah, there's a lot of kids who have the talent to play. But I look at this Markelle Fultz story, and I see other guys around the league. They might have talent to be able to handle themselves, but I think one of the biggest problems, Marc, is they're not professionals. They're not ready to be a professional, meaning pay my mortgage, get my clothes washed, make sure that everything's paid, get to the thing on time, do my laundry, like all of those things. Like, I think that gets overlooked in this whole game of let's draft an 18-year-old kid because he has talent, but they get sucked up by the fact that they're now a professional. And at 18, 19 years old, how many of these guys know that they love doing this every day with the scrutiny. And I think that I feel these stories are so sad sometimes that we just throw out because they have the talent to be able to compete.
Yeah, it's kind of mutually exclusive to that player and your upbringing. With Fultz, man, there was certainly I really believe that his injury is a real injury. I talked to Ben Uzo, who had that same injury.
Yeah.
And, perhaps it all works out for him in Orlando. And he probably needed a change of environment because some guys just can't handle the pressure. Being number one, being in Philly, being under a microscope, being on a team that's great, and you're sitting on the bench, perhaps that was a little overwhelming for him. In Orlando, man, ain't no spotlight there. If he plays, then it becomes a story, but nobody's going to really follow strongly what he's doing. So perhaps that was a blessing in disguise for him. It's just tough as far as age because I was one of those guys that kind of thought you should be in a league, at least in college, for 2 years before you could go out from a maturity standpoint. But now these young guys are just too good, man. And, can you imagine if we forced Zion to play 2 years of college or play 4 years of college?
Well, it would be crazy. But, Mark, if the other guys who were already in the league also were playing college, then the competition, it wouldn't seem as bad, right?
Yeah. I mean, maybe what we should do is implement, what they do in, say, Major League Baseball, right? Why not allow them to be drafted out of high school? And if you could play and you want to go to the NBA now, then you go now. But if not, you got to wait till your junior year to come out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that, a team holds your right. You can play summer league with them, but you're going back to college. And I think that would help college basketball too, because it would help them on recruiting and let them know that at least they got a guy for 2 years. And it could also maybe allow guys to see, okay, am I really that good or do I need a lot of work? So I think baseball does it the right way, and basketball really needs to figure, if they're, great as things are that the NBA does, the one thing they need to figure out better is that, and I like the baseball model better.
I like that idea. By the way, check out Marc Spears on Twitter at Mark J. Spears ESPN. Check out his article on Ben Simmons in The Undefeated. He's the senior NBA writer for ESPN's The Undefeated. Check out his work and NBA coverage at theundefeated.com. Sixers with a big week. This is an interesting week. They got Denver tonight. They got the Lakers on Sunday. They got Boston on Tuesday. They got the Knicks. That Boston game is going to be all eyes, Philly-Boston, right?
Oh, yeah. Where's that game at?
In Philly. The 2 games earlier were in Boston, so Boston won both games there. Check. All right, now the game's in Philly. Philly's got to win that game. Otherwise, that whole mindset of we can't beat Boston will be there. Yeah,
but you know what? I think Sixers fans, they don't want to hear this, but you're going to have to exude a little patience because there's just so much that has changed, so many different bodies, such a major player coming in. You're almost going to have to wait till after the All-Star break when they can get some practices in and get some time together. Like the All-Star break is actually coming at a bad time because you want these guys to get to know each other a little bit more to get them to gel. So if I'm Sixers fans and they don't come out the gate tonight and against Boston looking great, don't get too down, man. Worry about what the team's going to be in mid-April, not in mid-February.
I'm going to get yelled at by the listeners. You brought a reasonable man on this show.
I might change tomorrow. You just caught me on a good day.
Marc Spears, senior NBA writer, ESPN's The Undefeated, theundefeated.com. I love your work, Mark. Appreciate it, man.
All right. Thanks, brother.